Here we are on the front of our Kodiak Dutchman 27 SBH. We're going to go over some of the features on our unit. This will be a general walkthrough of the unit and some general operation of some of the appliances on it. If you want more specific information on the name brand appliances that are in your unit, you can search in our helpful hacks section or down in the videos below. On the front of our unit, we have our 7-way plug for our lights and our charge line for our battery. We also have our breakaway, which is our braking feature on the unit in the event that something happens to our hitch. And we have our power ton jack, comes with a LED light on it. And we also have that up and down feature. This is a 12-volt operated unit, so it'll work off of the battery. We have this plug on the top that we can pull off, and it comes with a crank handle. In the event that this feature is not working, we can use this to manually crank our jack up and down. Once again, this is a 12-volt product. If you follow the wire down to the battery, there's going to be a blade fuse in line with that you can replace or check to make sure that it is not blown. Our unit also has dual propane tanks with a dual propane auto changeover regulator. We also have our battery stored back here along with our battery disconnect. So we'll notice on our slide out has cable driven slides. We want to make sure that we watch our tutorial on cable driven slides. It'll be operated by the switch on the inside. We'll go over on that control panel, but that video will go over how to override these slides if something were to ever happen and some maintenance that we need to do with them as well. Over here we have our city water connection. Our city water connection is just a hose hookup. We'll hook it up to our bib either at our house or campground, wherever we're getting that water supplied to us from. Turn it on and it'll automatically provide water to our fixtures on the interior. Behind it we have our black tank flush. Our black tank flush is used to draw out and flush the sewage that might be in that black tank. We'll go over that a little bit more when we get to the valves at the bottom. Up top here we have our cable coax connection and our satellite coax connection. These connections are if you have cable at the campground or at your house, you'll hook it up to the one there on the left and we'll scan for channels on that TV on the interior. The satellite connection is if you have an external satellite you want to set up out here and you run that coax into there, and we'll show you on the inside where you'll hook that receiver up. Here we have our 30 amp twist lock plug right here. It is a turn feature. In order to take it out, slight turn to the left and we pull it out to plug it back in. Make sure that we have everything lined up properly. Put it in, slight turn to the right to lock it in. And we put that little retention ring on there to make sure that that plug doesn't come out. Now before you plug in your unit, you want to make sure that the other end is unplugged. And we also want to make sure that our air conditioner, water heater, all those appliances are off. Otherwise, it will create a surge on those appliances and it can cause issues with them. So make sure everything's turned off before we plug in our service at the campground. Down below, we have our drain spout for our gray tank and our black tank. So our gray is our sinks and our showers and stuff like that, whether it be from our kitchen or bathroom. And our black is from our toilet. Okay, that's our sewage, that's our toilet paper, anything we put down that toilet. We want to make sure that we don't put any kind of other feminine products or anything, just RV toilet paper only. And we have these handles off to the side. Our gray signifies our gray tank valve. Our black signifies our black tank valve. So we pull that cable valve and the water or sewage will drain out of that system. When we're hooked up at a campground, we hook our water hose up and that water hose will go into our sewage dump. We can leave our gray tank open all the time. That way we don't have to come out every time that shower drain is full or sinks are full to drain that out. Our black tank, however, we want to keep that valve closed until we are ready to dump it. Reason being is if you let all the water drain out of that tank, it will cause those solids to dry up and it'll cause damage to that tank to where that stuff will not drain out. So make sure we leave that black tank closed before we dump it, okay? When we are ready to dump, we have our hose connection hooked up at the dump station, campsite, wherever. We draw that black tank valve open and we dump everything out. From that point, we hook a water hose up to that black tank flush that we talked about. It's a little jet nozzle in there and it's going to spray most of everything out of there and push it out. We can close that valve off for a second, let a little bit of water build up, and then open it up to help flush that system out. We have another great video that goes over black tank flush. I suggest you watch that too. So once you have everything flushed out, close that black tank valve. Allow water to still build up in that tank, probably about 2 gallons or so. You can do it from your black tank flush, or you can do it from your toilet by just holding that pedal down. and then add some chemical to it, that's how you want to store it. You never want to store your tank dry on the black tank side. A little bit further up on our J-wrap, we have a red and blue line sticking out of that bottom end. Those are our low point drains for our hot and cold lines. If we ever want to drain the water out of all our pipes, maybe in preparation of winterization, we want to go ahead and open those valves and drain that water out. If you want more information on that, you'll look up our winterization video in the helpful hacks section. On the back of our unit here, we have a bumper. It has caps on the end of it. If we were to go ahead and remove those caps, we can store our sewer hose in there and simply put that cap back on, keep it in there rather than keep it in a compartment. Up top, we have our Lippert on-the-go ladder system. You can purchase a telescopic ladder. We already have the mount for it up there. You put that ladder up and you can gain access to your roof. This is important because it is customer maintenance to check the sealant on that roof every 60 to 90 days. Any cracks or openings or anything that may happen up there, it's customer responsibility to seal it up. We also need to make sure around all our edges, windows, lights, appliances, anything that's mounted on the exterior of our unit, we need to put silicone. We need to check that every 60 to 90 days as well for any cracks or opening in that sealant. Once again, customer maintenance. If anything were to leak into our unit due to a customer maintenance item, warranty is not going to cover that. So just like changing oil in your car, you want to make sure that you maintain that properly as well. On our unit, we also have our Furrion tankless on-demand water heater that's located right here. We'll go over some more information on that when we get to the control panel on the inside. Right here, we have a quick connect water port. This quick connect water port is for the coiled up hose that you can go ahead and hook to it, and you can have a spray hose here at the rear of the unit. Here on the passenger side of our unit, we see our solar on the side plug. This is if you want to purchase a separate solar panel to put out in an area. Let's say you store your unit under the trees and the solar panel cannot take a feed from the sun. We can put this panel out in another area and where that sun is passing through, and it will charge your battery system. Your unit is already prepped and ready with that solar controller in there to be able to convert that solar energy into 12-volt charging power. You do have a solar panel up on the roof already as well. Now you are prepped for an inverter. Inverter changes power from 12 volts to 110. If you want to upgrade to that, we already pre-wired for that system here in that front pass-through compartment. We have our Lippert stabilizer jacks, operational by this extend retract button. We can see our legs go down and they stabilize our unit. They are not used for leveling. You will have them on the front and the rear of your unit. In order to level your unit left to right, you'll get some leveling blocks, and you want to place those under your tires and level your unit according to whatever is level at that campsite. To level it front to back, you'll use your tongue jack in the front, and these are simply to be placed on the ground. You can put a slight amount of weight on them. Besides that, they are meant to stabilize your unit only, not level them. If you put too much weight on them, they will collapse, and that'll be considered customer pay, not a warranty claim. They are 12-volt operated jacks, so they have a little resettable breaker under here that will reset on their own if they were ever to overamp, and they do have an override on the other side. So here we are back on the driver's side of our unit, opposite of our motor in and our switch, and we have this handle. We can see this handle has a little slice in it, and it will line up with the post on that jack. We line it up, and we can manually run that jack up and down if we need to. Our entry door is a friction controlled entry door, so you're not going to see a latch to hold it down. So it may also be, a little stiff to open on that hinge. Once again, friction controlled. Our screen door can be opened by pushing that latch down right there, close it, and it'll lock into our frame right here. If we want to close it off for any bugs or anything, of course we have that screen right there as well. Our entry door, when we close it, it will automatically latch and pick up that screen door. If you want to just operate that screen door directly, of course we have a handle here that we can open and close that door with. Our entry steps are manual entry steps. Lift them up at each hinge point and drop them into the frame. We want to make sure that whenever we store these, or when we bring them out of storage every couple months, we go ahead and lubricate these hinge points so they operate properly. Now we also notice that we have this vent up here. This vent is for our range hood over our 3-burner stovetop. Now this hood is closed off. It has a couple little plunger plugs that help keep it closed. We do that way we don't let insects or anything build a nest up there. Anytime we operate that range hood, we need to get a little step stool and pop that open. Whenever we use it, whenever we're not using it, we store our unit, we want to make sure that it's closed off. If we don't open that up, then that range hood is not going to exhaust outside. Here we have our furnace. Our furnace, nothing to look at out here as far as operation. This is just a cover and an exhaust. You will have hot air come out of here whenever it is operating, so be mindful of that metal piece. It will have a little heat to it. And of course, we have our 12-volt powered awning. Our awning is powered by 12 volts, just a push of a button on the inside and it can roll it out. We also have a switch for our porch lights out here. Once again, also 12 volt. Important thing about our awning, anytime we are concerned about weather, wind, anything of that sort, we need to roll that awning in. If any damage occurs because we left it out during a rainstorm, a windstorm, or anything like that, that's going to be an insurance claim, not warranty. These are for sunshades only. That is all they are to be used for. If they are left out in that, it's going to be customer pay. So one thing also that we need to remember is we have to pitch our awning. We may have a little bit of water, AC runoff. We may have a little dew, anything small. So if we slide that arm down, we have a little knob right here on the side. We tighten that knob up and now we have our awning pitched to the right side. That's so water can drain off right here. We can also pitch it to the front as well. We want to make sure that any water that can get on this awning can drain off. I don't suggest leaving it out in the rain. This is not to drain off rain. We want to make sure that we're allowing that AC runoff mainly to drain off of here. If we do leave it out in rain or we allow that AC runoff to accumulate in the middle, it can build up enough to where this awning collapses, once again resulting in an insurance claim or customer pay. So keep that in mind. Make sure you pitch your awning off to the side and bring it in during a weather storm. If you leave your unit for a long period of time, roll that awning in. Here towards the rear of our unit, we have our freshwater connection. Our freshwater connection leads to our fresh tank. We pull that cap off right there. We get a water hose. We put it in there and we start filling it up. We can monitor it from our monitor panel on the inside to see what the level of that tank is. In order to use the water in that fresh tank, we'll turn on our water pump at the control panel. That will bring water to our fixtures. We use this anytime we're dry camping. We don't have a location where we have a water bib that we can hook that hose up to. We'll pull out of our fresh tank system. In order to drain that system, down below our unit, we have a white hose right here with a little valve. We turn that valve and it will drain the water out of that fresh tank. Here we have our GFCI protected outlet along with our coax for our outdoor TV. And that GFCI protected outlet is protected because it is a wet location, just like ones in your kitchen or bathroom. The main outlet to reset it is on the interior. We'll go over that when we get to the inside, but if it's not working, go to that GFCI main outlet on the inside with that reset button first before you do anything else. Here towards the rear, we have our outdoor refrigerator. Our outdoor refrigerator is a 110 appliance. Anytime you plug into your 30 or 50 amp service, this is going to turn on unless you turn the breaker off or you unplug it. So keep that in mind. Anytime you plug it in for a little while, you're going to end up having frost and water build up in here, and whenever it defrosts, it can end up leaking out of this fridge and damaging the wood in this compartment. So anytime you have this turned on, make sure you open it up, you defrost it, you get all the water out of there, because mold and mildew are going to build up, and you're going to have a puddle of water that can drain out and cause issues of swelling, cracking, and rotting in this compartment. That is customer maintenance. So make sure you take care of that. That is not a warrantable claim. Down below that, we have another switch right here. That is for your LCI stabilizer jacks here in the rear. As we walk into our entry, we have our Furrion tankless water heater system. This is our controller. To turn it on, we hit that on button. We'd see a power light indicating that the power is on. We have Fahrenheit and Celsius. We can change between those two temperature readings by hitting the Fahrenheit Celsius button right there. We also have a flame indicator light. When we initiate our hot water at our faucets, if this system does what it's supposed to do, it will light that flame and the indicator will turn on right there under the flame light. To adjust our temperature up and down, we simply hit our arrows right there to put it at our desired temperature. It is a set it and forget it type system. We do have more information, diagnostics, and operation in a separate video in the helpful hacks section. This is our control panel for our Kodiak. We have right here at the top our water pump system. Once again, a 12-volt water pump that will pull from your fresh water tank. We use this in the event that we are dry camping. If we are hooked up to a city water connection, make sure you have that off. Our porch light right here for our lights outside, and we have our ceiling lights for our ceiling lights inside. If our lights aren't on off of this switch, it is a push button on the light itself that you just push the button and that light will turn on. All of these buttons right here indicate our fresh tank, our battery level, our black tanks, and our gray tanks up here at the top. Tells you the levels that they are at. Now, while this panel may have multiple options up here, it doesn't mean you have that many tanks. We have to look at the valves down at the bottom of our unit by the sewage dump to ensure how many tanks we actually have. In this case, it's black one and gray one that will read the proper levels of those tanks. Down below, we have our slide out in and out button right here, that cable slide system, and we have our awning in and out button here. Everything you see here is 12 volts operated. If you have any issues with it, you want to check your battery voltage on your battery, your converter system, or the 12 volt fuse panel located by your breakers. Speaking of our breaker panel and 12 volt system, just below that, down on the floor by our entry, we have our 110 breakers right here, and we have our 12 volt fuses right here. This is where you would go if you have any issues with your 12 volt options. Any issues with your 110 appliances, you go right here to that breaker panel. If we were to remove this, that converter is going to be located down here at the bottom. Our converter is basically a battery charger. When we're plugged into 110 service, that 30 amp service, it changes 110 power into a 12 volt power to be able to charge our battery and provide us lights throughout our unit. In our kitchen, we have our Furrion microwave along with that range hood vent that we talked about outside. If we open that vent outside and we turn that fan on, we can ventilate out to the exterior. We also have an LED light right there. You do have a screen. If you go ahead and pull those tabs, you can have that screen pulled out and clean it up, get any grease or anything from cooking off of there. We also have our 3-burner Furrion stovetop right here. This is a gas operated appliance. Now I'm gonna give you a quick tip. Anytime you change your tanks or you turn them off for a long period of time for storage and you just turn them on, you get ready to go camping, you want to go ahead and go straight to your stove after you've turned your gas on. We want to turn that stove on, let the gas bleed out, and we want to go ahead and ignite it. Now, it may take quite a few turns before that ignites. The reason is you're going to have air in your system. That's what we're trying to bleed out. Keep igniting it until it lights and you get a nice crisp blue flame on that burner top. This gets all the air out of that system. If it leaves any, it's a very little bit. That way, when you go to gas appliances, such as your furnace or your water heater, to turn those things on, there won't be any air in that system to cause a fault. If there ever is, just shut those systems off and turn them back on, and that'll give it, again, another opportunity to bleed the air out of the lines. Here behind me, we have our Furrion 12 volt refrigerator. Our 12 volt refrigerator is operational by this little dial right here, and we can turn it off or on, cold or colder. This system is what is in this unit, but all 12 volt fridges are pretty much the same. Now remember, once again, just like our outdoor refrigerator, when we are done, we want to turn this system off. We want to defrost our refrigerator and our freezer and get all the water out of it and clean it out very well. This reduces mold and mildew, and it reduces any water from standing in here and leaking out and potentially damaging any of your woodwork around it, which wouldn't be a warrantable claim. Behind our entertainment section, of course, we have this hideaway pantry system. We simply open it up, and we do have a motion sensor right here. One panel, when you turn it to one switch, it will be on all the time, and you turn it to number 2 and it will be a motion sense light. So whenever you open up that door, that light may be off and then it kicks back on. When you close the door, it'll turn off on its own. Here on our entertainment center, we have that mount for our TV. We also have a GFCI protected outlet here and a coax connection. A coax connection is for our cable system. We'll hook that up and we can scan for channels right here in order to provide us TV. Have another receptacle there, and down below we have our 110 fireplace. Here we have our fireplace. We have a sensor right up here in the top right. We have to aim that remote at to turn it on. We have our Celsius and Fahrenheit temperature we can change to, and right here this little flame icon is going to change the dimness of our flame. If we want to change the lighting of our flame, we hit the light bulb on the screen down here at the bottom, and it'll give you some different options right there. If we want to operate our heater on a timer, once again, electric heater, it is going to be this button right here. It looks like a clock, and when we push it, we can see some times pop up: 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, all the way up to 8, and then it will go to 0 hours, letting you know that that timer is off. If we want to change our temperature, we'll use one of these two buttons at the bottom, and we can see once again we have a temperature down there, and we will go ahead and raise it until it kicks on, or lower it, we want it to kick off, or we can keep going until it says on, and that heater will stay running all the time. We kick it up one more time and it's going to say OF, meaning that that system is off. This is our Furrion AC system. We'll start with our cool option first. Our cool will cool the air throughout our unit. We of course set our thermostat to whatever point we want it to be, and we have our fan speed options. We have low and high. For low and high, that fan will run all the time. Now whenever we want that fan to cut off, whenever the compressor cuts off, much like we likely do at home, we have it on auto. That system will shut off and on with the compressor. Our next mode is our heat mode. Our heat mode activates our gas-powered furnace on our unit. We choose our set point, and our heater will come on whenever necessary. There is fan speeds on here, but it does not change the fan speed on that furnace. It is a single fan speed on there, controlled by the furnace board. Our next mode is our fan mode. Our fan mode simply circulates air throughout our unit without cooling it or anything. This will come out of our rooftop air, and we can just change from high to low to control that fan speed if we wish. That fan will stay on the entire time when we have it in our fan mode. Our last mode is our dry mode. Our dry mode is like a dehumidifier. We can choose our set point, and it will cool our unit down to that set point, and it will continue to cool past that, but alternate every 6 to 10 minutes off and on. That way it doesn't drop that temperature too low and freeze you out of the unit, but it still dries the air in your unit. Another thing to note with our furnace is that the air is going to come out of the vents on the floor. It's not going to come out of the rooftop air. Your only rooftop air is going to be your fan and your cool and your dry. Your heat will come out of those floor vents from the furnace. On your rooftop air, this is your return air for that AC system. You have a quick dump. If you want to cool off this area pretty quick, you can open that up, and all of that cold air is going to come out of here first. If you want to ventilate throughout your entire unit, because it is a ducted unit, you close that off, and then air will start to distribute throughout the vents and the ceiling all the way throughout your unit. In our bathroom, we have our shower. On your shower, you'll see a little button right here. This is an on-off button. Okay, this will shut off hose water at your shower head. So let's say we go ahead and turn our water on, our hot and cold on, we find the nice warmth or whatever temperature we wish, and we want to go ahead and shut the water off because we're dry camping. We're trying not to put too much water into our gray tank, and we're also trying to conserve the water from our fresh tank. So go ahead, get your body wet, we shut it off, we soap up, we turn it back on, we rinse off, and then we're done. And we've allowed ourselves to conserve the amount of water that we put into that tank, as well as conserve the amount of fresh water that we use. We do have a ventilation fan above us. It is suggested that you use that whenever you're taking a shower, so that hot air can ventilate out of there. Doesn't cause any humidity problems in the shower or bathroom area as well. Our toilet is an RV toilet. This is an RV toilet. RV toilet has a pedal down here at the bottom to be able to flush it. Water will come out and dump down into that tank. If we need to go number 2, we just hold that pedal down a little bit and water will start to fill that tank. We want to make sure we have enough water to flush whatever we put in there. It's reminded that we don't use any feminine products or anything and put down that tank. It's only for sewage and for RV toilet paper only. Anything else can cause damage to that tank. Remember, when we flush our tank out, we can go ahead and add several gallons of water and also some chemicals and set it up for storage. This is our GFCI outlet. This is where all those GFCI protected outlets in your unit will go to. So if they aren't working, you want to come over here and you're looking for a little light on the system. That would indicate that this is tripped. We can signify that by hitting that test button. We'd say at red light, that means no power is going to any of those outlets. In order to reset it if it is ever tripped, we hit the black button and that will reset it, turn that light off, and signify that everything is okay. Down below our thermostat, just before we enter our bathroom, we have our COLP detector. This is a safety device that should be checked once a month and tested to make sure that it is operating correctly. It is also powered off of 12 volts. Not much to go over in our bedroom. We do have storage underneath our bed. We also have our backer for our TV here in the bedroom. And we have our main area for our antenna on our system. We do have that wind guard antenna upstairs on the roof, and this is where we would hook that antenna up and we would provide power for that system. There's a little button on to the side that says antenna power. It will provide a green light letting us know that we have power to that antenna. It amplifies the signal on that antenna and allows you to pick up more channels on your TV whenever you're scanning for air channels. If you're hooked up to cable at the campground, we want that system off when we scan for channels. Otherwise, it will scramble the channels coming from the cable connection at the campground. So off for cable and on for antenna. To the right, we'll see our Wi-Fi power button. When we turn it on, once again, another green light indicates that there is power to our Wi-Fi system. Now that system is an upgradable option. You have to add a router system to it, and we would provide power to that router. This is a WineGuard LGE 4G Wi-Fi system. It would be able to be paid for through Verizon or AT. It would be able to be paid for through Verizon or AT&T. They give you a SIM card to put in that router system, and then you can have internet wherever they have signal.
Well, we hope you found that resourceful. But wait, there's more information on our Great American RV YouTube channel. This channel right here, find the playlist Hap's Helpful Hacks. We go over different products in this unit, and we'll take a deeper dive with more diagnostics, more information, as well as helpful tips when you're out camping. Tell your buddies, tell your friends, like, share, subscribe, do all those awesome things on YouTube, TikTok, wherever you found us. And keep watching here at Great American RV Superstores, where we bring the how-to you.